Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the Microsoft Surface 2. Now, this is the update to the Surface RT. Of course, the RT name has been dropped, but the operating system has not. So we're running Windows 8.1 RT out of the box, and really this is the 64-bit mobile version of Windows. So you can't run full exe program files like you would on a traditional desktop, or in this case, the other version of Surface, the Surface Pro or Pro 2, where you get a true full computing environment that also gives you the benefit of a tablet experience. Here, we're just getting the tablet side of things, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, for this new generation of Surface, Microsoft has really gone out of their way to improve on this device in every possible fashion. And that's because, quite frankly, the first generation flopped. Microsoft has invested a lot of money, both in design and software, and they really do want this to succeed. So what do you get here? Well, in terms of price points, we're looking at $450 for the 32 gigabyte Wi-Fi model that I'm sharing with all of you right now. It has a new color, no longer do we get the black version from the past, which the Surface Pro retained. Here we now have this gray or silver color, which is actually quite nice. Build quality is still right on point with the last generation. The device has gotten lighter. We've also got a further range of motion with the kickstand, which is definitely a benefit, and overall a tremendous upgrade in the processor as well as the brand new screen, which is now 1080p. So this 10.6-inch tablet has been completely redone, even though it looks very similar to the last generation and operates in a similar fashion as well. Everything has been upgraded, including the cameras. The front-facing camera is now 3.5 megapixels. The rear cam is 5. Interestingly enough, on the Surface Pro 2, of course, again, the more expensive, more feature-rich Surface model that gives you the full Windows 8 Pro experience, the cameras have not been upgraded. It's really clear that Microsoft has put all of their focus this year on improving the general Surface platform. So the big piece of the puzzle that's missing here is clearly software, which I'll be speaking about in a moment. But in terms of the balance of the specifications, the processor I mentioned, big upgrade, the Tegra 4 processor you're getting in here, an ARM A15 chip, one of the best mobile processors on the market. Great graphics as well. However, the lack of games in the marketplace is a problem when you want to actually utilize that Tegra 4. But everything so far in my experience on here screams, and the processor really helps in that area. 2 gigs of RAM, certainly not the top of the industry, even though the price point is definitely up there. Whether you're taking the 32 gig version at that 450 or 550 for the 64 gig, they should really have just about everything that you could possibly expect out of the box, considering software, again, is that area that Microsoft really hasn't been able to produce on. And that's because, quite frankly, they're behind the competition. We know that Android's biggest complaint or criticism is lack of applications when compared to iOS. So clearly, Microsoft is really in the back seat. Over 100,000 applications now available, but some big names such as Instagram still not there. Facebook just added, and those are improvements, but the overall picture isn't that strong when it comes to applications, unfortunately. And that's a problem. You know, SkyDrive is definitely a big tie-in. It's all about the ecosystem here with this tablet. But the specifications are solid. As I mentioned, everything has been upgraded, and the build quality is still incredible when compared to just about anything else on the market. So that is quite a bit of good stuff when compared to the fact that it does have some software limitations. Now, despite the application deficiency here, which is very easy, or it's easy to make that argument because it still is clear, but a lot of stuff is here now that was missing in the last generation, I will say that. You do still have desktop mode, full Internet Explorer experience with Flash. This is one of the few tablets that really does that extraordinarily well. And Windows 8.1 is really quite refreshing. You can see easy access to all of your applications right there with a simple swipe. Of course, from Windows 8, you still have the traditional access gestures that will take you to and from previous applications. The Start button has been reincorporated, or I should say Windows button, which is nice to see. If I jump to the desktop, which of course you can pin everything, much like on the full version of Windows 8, which is or 8.1, I should say, which is what's really nice about this tablet, is that it does give you the Windows environment. So Windows, Microsoft has to be selling that brand. It is theirs after all. And when you look at it and compare it to what Apple has to offer, or Android, they have their own suite. There's no question about it. There is an ecosystem to be sold, and the packaging of it is what Microsoft has clearly refined here. So on the last generation of Surface, as you can see right here at the bottom of the screen, we've got Microsoft Office. It was not really complete. It was missing some principal features as well as full-blown applications. That's been corrected. You now have pretty much everything. Yes, they're still not complete full versions, but you do have access to everything you could possibly need for business productivity. And this is something that no other tablet can brag about. So that's already a very big win in favor of the Surface 2. Of course, the Surface RT, the original tablet, also has this, but you're getting so much more here in hardware, and of course this brand new screen, which is actually, in my opinion, believe it or not, a better screen than the one found on the second generation Surface Pro 2, which is surprising considering, again, that the Pro is a more expensive line. But that again speaks to emphasis really on trying to make this tablet a winner, which I understand. Microsoft has a lot invested in this product and a lot lost at this point. A lot of the first gen tabs still sitting on shelves. They don't want this to follow the same direction. Now, your Start button that I mentioned is reincorporated. Is a definite good thing for those of you who have still not experienced Windows 8. This is the first time you're going to step into the RT environment. This will be a welcomed addition for you. It's part of the 8.1 revamp, and that's really just to make things more comfortable. If you do a long touch, it brings up basically a menu to just about everything you could possibly want to do in a Windows environment, whether you just want to use the File Explorer, get to Task Manager, network connections. It's all there. So really, there's no excuse anymore to trash Windows 8. In fact, I never really thought Windows 8 was a poor experience personally, because every device I was using for Windows 8 was touch-based. Clearly, it does have a touch emphasis, but now with 8.1, touch is really taken out of the game in terms of being make or break, in my opinion, for the overall experience. So easy access to everything you could possibly want here. Keep in mind, if you go with the 32 gig version, Windows 8.1 RT does take up quite a bit of space. So if you do really plan on doing a lot of productivity that isn't going to be out there on the cloud, then I do recommend going with the 64 gig version of this tablet. So as I mentioned before, who is this right for? We're looking at a Windows desktop that really isn't a full-blown Windows desktop. Of course, everything on it really does resemble it. If I go into the control panel, which I could have gone to from there as I just showed you, everything looks like we're on a Windows computer. But again, this is a ARM-based device, Tegra 4 driven, and we simply don't have that same breadth of computing. But if you are interested, as I mentioned before, simply from a business perspective, to have your entire Office suite, access to SkyDrive, and just basically the entire Windows experience without going to the next level and really needing a computer. So really, this accomplishes, I think, what most tablets try to do, which is replace a computer without being a computer. And after all, who would be better suited to do that than Microsoft? I think that Surface 2 really does accomplish the goal. And I'm shocked to be saying this because, the first generation RT was a flop for a variety of reasons. Here I see a tablet that Microsoft, as I've mentioned throughout the course of this video, really, again, redesigned or rebuilt from the ground up. It looks the same. Yes, it's only fractionally lighter. They changed the color, but everything else about it is completely different. The Tegra 4 processor is not an old chip. The Tegra 3, when it was put into the RT, was a relatively old piece of silicon. So you can certainly make the argument that they were far more progressive in their approach to this device. And it really does come through in everything you do with it. Now, I want to do a little bit of web browsing. I mentioned before you can go ahead and use Internet Explorer in a traditional desktop environment, which is a nice added bonus. Certainly not one you need to take advantage of because you do have the Metro interface, which is really what the tablet experience is all about, and it runs really well. The dual band Wi-Fi so far has been excellent. I'm nowhere near my router right now. Battery life also solid. We're looking at roughly somewhere, I would say, between 6 and 8 hours, depending on where you keep brightness and what exactly you're doing. It's not going to achieve the 10 hours that Microsoft claims. I'll let you know that right now, at least based on my initial test. Battery life could change, so wait until I do actually end up publishing a full review here. So take that with a grain of salt, at least the current battery life. But let's go ahead and pull up a video. Go with the Note, the brand new one, because that is a competing product with this, no question. See if I come up in some results. Yeah, there's the unboxing. And you'll see everything's just flying here.
Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing of the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1.
See how the buffering is? Or lack thereof, or maybe there is quite a bit. Oh no, that was my fault.
Display now carries a resolution of 2560 by 1600, so it now is matched on their original product. Even if something is a great success at launch, it doesn't mean, of course, that you can't improve upon it. So here we've got the Note 10.1. Again, those of you who are...
So you can see basically no buffering whatsoever. And everything is just incredibly fast, and that's what's really great about this. A multitasking beast, that's the other thing. So I said you've got the Windows environment, the ecosystem that many people really do use on a daily basis. After all, even people who are Apple users regularly, when they're at work, they are still working in a Windows environment. So I can really see this being a companion device that whether it wasn't marketed properly the first go round, or as I mentioned, it was really a matter of the hardware, whatever it was, it really seems like if there were ever a time that Microsoft would finally get this off the ground, this might be it. The software, as I mentioned before, over 100,000 applications, it's still not there. But I think this is the first tablet where Microsoft really does have a shot at surviving. They certainly have the money to continue to pump it into this platform. I think they're going to. There's no reason not to. It definitely does fill a space between the Office Productivity Suite as well as this entire Windows environment, which is really great to have in a tablet form. You've got a micro SD card slot on the back for storage expansion, which is hidden. I'm going to show it to you right now. In terms of hardware, just going around the tablet first before I show that, speaker right there on the upper right hand side, micro HDMI out for your video out, a USB 3.0 port right there to the right of it, the magnetic pogo port for charging, or you could throw on the pen, although I have not seen compatibility with the pen from the Pro on this tablet. Down at the base we have the other port for the type or touch covers, which are incredibly improved. Another thing which, quite frankly, I'm going to chalk up to, again, to making sure that this product really does get a proper revamp. Backlit keyboards, more gestures incorporated, just completely improved compared to last generation. Of course, I still wish that Microsoft would include it with the actual Surface 2 and Surface Pro 2, but it's wishful thinking for now, because we have to remember these are incredibly well-made tablets. You will not find anything else on the market made as well, and that's independent of the software running on the device, of course, but Microsoft really has done a great job here with 8.1, in my opinion. Volume rocker here, 3.5mm headphone jack. The other speaker, sound relatively solid. It's not going to blow you away. For example, the Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 has better output overall, but the kickstand on here is another nice touch, and that's where I was going before. I also love that this tablet's just incredibly clean looking. There's a little latch right here in order to allow you to actually pull the kickstand out. And this is the traditional kickstand mode that was available with the original Surface. I've shown this before. Really good for if you're just sitting at a desk and looking at this display head on. But in the event that you wanted to actually put this on your lap, or you're in bed on a couch and you wanted a different viewing angle, something that was easier to look down at rather than a sitting up posture, that's where this second dimension, 40-degree, drops out now. And we now have the ability to, even though it may not come through incredibly well here, I'll back the camera up to give a better view. This is really a dramatic difference from the original viewing angle. I can assure you when you put this on your lap, it's usable in a way the original line of Surface tablets was not. Again, this is position 1. That should give you a much better idea of the drastic difference between the two levels. So really well made, a processor to match, improved cameras, micro SD card slot for storage expansion, HDMI out. I mean, this has everything that all the competing tablets have, and then some. It's really, as I keep mentioning, I like everything about it. If this was running Android, I would probably be in love with this device. So it's really the only limitation right now is its ecosystem and whether or not you can get into the Surface RT business end of things. It's a value for a student, or again, from a professional standpoint, if you need to have Windows for productivity. You've got that micro SD card slot, which can give you an additional 64 gigs of storage if you choose to pick up a 64 gig card, and they are quite affordable at this point. And just, again, the overall profile, build, improved cameras, something that, as I mentioned before, even the brand new Pro 2 did not get in the process. These are all niceties that are specific to this tablet. So really liking what I'm seeing so far. I know this was a long update, but that's because, quite frankly, I am surprised by the Microsoft Surface 2. I knew Microsoft had it in them. It was just a matter of time. It seems like this is going to be the winner. I don't mean necessarily right now at its current price point. I think it's still a tough sell, but I think if it's looked at with the correct posture and understood for what it really is, that it is a multitasking beast, I think then it will actually gain the recognition it deserves. You've got a Windows environment, you have access to Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all the things that you'd have from a computer that you can't get with any other tablet, which is just fantastic. And then you also have the ability to jump right into tablet mode, get onto Internet Explorer, and the weight is, palatable. It's 1.4. It's certainly heavy compared to a lot of the 10-inch competition, especially on the heels of the brand new iPad Air that weighs in at a pound, with the 9.7-inch, of course, not wide screen display like we have here, as well as in Android tablets, which are more centric for viewing video content, in my opinion. Apple more shifted towards being a e-reader of 10-inch tablets. But all this media consumption talk, this tablet is not about media consumption. Of course, Microsoft would like it to become a tool of media consumption. It really is more about productivity, and that's unique. I can't really say that about iOS or Android. Both of those platforms, even though Android, of course, has a wide breadth of controls and abilities that are not present in iOS, which is one of the reasons I love it, the customizations. It's a great platform. That doesn't exist here, but when you look at what this can do from a productivity standpoint, it's tough to replicate on the Android platform. I mean, you don't have a lot of the things that you have here. It's that simple. And as I said, most people still do have to deal with Windows at work on a daily basis. Web browsing on here is fantastic, and that's because, again, the Tegra 4 is great. As soon as NVIDIA partnered up with Windows, I knew we were going to eventually see a phenomenal product. I was disappointed the Tegra 3 was the processor in the RT, the original Surface tablet. Again, it was just old hardware. Here, we're actually getting what we should at the launch of a brand new product. And the good news is that if you pick this up as a productivity tool for business, web browsing, video conferencing, and doing everything that at least you can do within a Flash-enabled Internet Explorer browser, which is a lot more than most tablets can do, believe it or not, using apps, then you might start to see that this is a great value, especially since Office is a costly app these days. And overall, this really does not cut any corner that I can find, at least. So overall, I'm really liking the package. I will jump to another website. And of course, because you have a USB port, which is 3.0, you've got good transfer speeds there if you want to hook up hard drives or if you want to deal with actual peripherals. You also have Bluetooth for keyboards. You don't have to go with the type or touch cover clearly. I'll be doing some demos with actual USB-based keyboards as well as Bluetooth ones. And overall, the experience is just great. This really does remind me of a computer. It's just unfortunate that I'm a little bit more impressed with Surface 2 than Surface Pro 2. I wish that wasn't the case, but it's not a bad thing because I think Microsoft clearly knew they had to improve more on the device that needed more improvement. Surface Pro sold out when it launched last October. Of course, RT did not. It still, as I mentioned, is sitting on shelves. But overall, everything here just works really well. The dual-band Wi-Fi generally performs as well as any other competing device. Of course, as I say that, this isn't playing. But try something else here. Last thing I really want to see, I'll do us all a favor so at least we don't have to hear about it. Not looking to show political ads here, but you get the idea. I mean, it was able to load relatively quickly. Of course, I did not want to see the Keystone Pipeline there accidentally, but overall, it really does do a nice job, and everything can be running simultaneously. This is something that for other tablets they can try to do. Of course, the Galaxy Note 10.1, I'll be doing a direct comparison between this tablet and the 2014 edition because they are both at the same price point and both some of the, in my opinion, two of the most powerful tablets on the market. But of course, the Android platform far more robust than what's offered here, even if you're in love with Windows, because I could see how many Windows users can be in love with this personally. Even I'm taken by it initially, if that hasn't been made clear through the course of this update and review, which I initially said was going to be quick, but clearly it's not, and that's because there's so much to talk about here with what Microsoft has done to improve this product. So I really like it. The product does fly, if that hasn't come through so far, and anything I actually can compare it to right now, it really does fare well against. And overall, the fact that, again, you can just jump in and out of everything so easily, and you still now, as I mentioned, got the start button back. You still have that Windows feel, especially if you're accustomed to Windows 8. It's just a great piece of hardware, and it actually executes properly this time around, in my opinion. So overall, I'm liking what I see. Even though this was not a full review, I did give a pretty good look at a lot of what this can do. If you are cloud-centric, you're going to be in love with this tablet. If you're a student, you're going to really enjoy using it, especially in conjunction with the type cover, in my opinion. Again, I recommend the 64 gig in conjunction with the type cover. That's going to be the most ideal setup for this tablet. But it is a beast, folks. I wish they had done a little bit more in the way of RAM, but quite frankly, I can't really see any of the Windows applications pushing this tablet above and beyond the 2 gigs on board. So even though something like the Galaxy Note 2014 has 3 gigs of RAM, and I said in my video last update on that it could have been even more, it's really clear that the Tegra 4 handles the resolution, the pixel density offered by this tablet quite well. Again, the cameras, I did not show that. I'll show that right now. Everything just works really well. And that's what I was impressed with. I wasn't sure that that was really going to come through in this product because RT, we all know how that wound up. And I'm going to go ahead and just bring this up. I will bring out, right there we have, trying to get it in focus. We have the Windows logo from Surface Pro 2, which of course I'm reviewing simultaneously. On the right hand side you can see we've got some buttons. Here we have video, still capture, panorama. And of course just touch the screen to take a shot, and you can just drag, as it's indicating right here, to see your camera roll, just drag the screen to the right. And then you can see what you just shot or recorded. It's that simple. Again, improved cameras, everything really is improved on this tablet. And that's why this update is really so long. So liking what I'm seeing in terms of whether or not I could tell you that this is right for you versus the Android competition right now, not there yet. Have to spend more time with it and really see what the practical application of this refresh of RT really equates to. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.